All right, welcome back to Pod into Podular, episode 2.
Yes, sir.
Scotty,
Yes,
how we
sir.
feeling tonight?
Man, I am feeling wonderful, Nate. Thank you for asking. It's been
And
a hell of a week.
why are you feeling so wonderful?
Man, the response to last week's episode was pretty cool, if I do say so myself.
Really cool.
I don't think the two of us really discussed our expectations out loud with each other too much. So this would be cool because I don't even know if I've really picked your brain about what you expected the first episode to, what the outcome of the first episode to be. But boy, did it seem like a lot of people liked it.
Yeah,
Just the comments we've been getting, the messages that each of us have been getting, the shares that we got. Shout out to the band for sharing the reel that we had. Shout out to Adam Deitch for sharing the reel. I mean, just it seemed like what we were talking about was very true. That there is a place for this, and that you guys do want this, and that's cool because we're gonna keep doing it. But
yeah,
shout out to every single person that commented and shared it and liked it and just let us know that this was something they wanted to keep hearing. Halloween 2024 will be a day that I think we both remember for a very long time.
absolutely. No, and like my expectations are like, I think we talked about it together. Like, hey, I'm not really worried about expectations.
Nah,
Let's just do it and keep doing it, right?
right.
And that was just the icing on top to see the reception we got. Not, I knew our friends would like it, but like
Hmm.
from people that we don't know that well or don't know at all, and
Yeah,
from the music community in general, and the amount of people that want to come on as guests, we'll get to as many people as we can. We've got a long list of people we want to have on. Um, but it was just really cool, really validating. I think it helped that we're coming off on a couple of smoking shows in Chicago, right?
sure,
So
sure,
that
sure.
helps. The clips speak for themselves. We've got some hot clips for you tonight too. But I just wanted to share one of the comments we got on our YouTube page. I'm not sure who this is. Their handle on YouTube is at Tej3035. He let
Shout
us
out
know.
Teach 35.
Yeah. My best friend and I went to our first tribe show 6 months ago. Since seeing them for the first time 6 months ago, we have been to 5 shows. That's impressive. There's no experience like a Sound Tribe experience. Objectively, Sound Tribes have been playing music longer than we have both been alive. Both of us have been searching for a space where more experienced fans can express their knowledge and opinions. Y'all are 100% right saying there is a place for this podular. Myself and others need this, so keep on creating and can't wait for the next episode. So,
Mm,
without further ado, let's get into that next episode. And Scotty, where does
right.
that take us? Where are we going for this?
Oh man, Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Do you like seeing them there?
This is as we discussed last week, my favorite place. I've never seen any other band there, but if I was in Austin, this would be a venue that I would just go to. Obviously STS9 is my favorite band, and so they're my favorite band to see there. But boy, oh boy, this venue just brings the best out in any artist, it seems.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I'd see the Wiggles at the Moody, honestly. I'll check to see if Kids Bop tour is there. But no, it's really cool, and I know we previewed it last week as one of our favorite places to see them indoor for a lot of reasons. But was talking to our buddy Travis Brooks. It was his first time seeing them there, and to hear from him that, hey, no, I've never been here, but to this from now on, I don't want to miss another show at the Moody.
Hmm.
So that is awesome. It's awesome to see their first Halloween proper show since 2016, so 8 years, and to come back in full force for a Thursday Friday run at the Moody in Austin is a heck of a way to get back into that. Shout out Chase Taylor, who is celebrating his 100th show down there. So I hope you had a good time as well, man. But we'll get right into recap here, Scotty. So start us off with night one with looking at the set list.
Oh man, this is without a doubt, I would say the spookiest show that STS9 has ever played. Um, Pretty much every single song that sounds like it was recorded in a haunted house was on this set list, with the exception of Dusk, which snuck in there in a very powerful way on the next night.
Mhm.
But we start off with Oil and Water, which honestly, as I was listening back to this song, I never really gave this song credit for how much of a Halloween song it is.
Yeah,
The
that water
piano,
section. Yep.
yeah, the
Mhm.
piano breakdown kind of sounds like the Halloween theme a little bit. Um, and just a very appropriate song to open up a Halloween show with.
Yeah, and they seem to be making a habit of opening shows with 15-minute versions of staples in
Yes.
their
I,
catalog.
I, I
So,
was I was gonna say also a marathon of an Oil and Water.
yeah,
I didn't go back to check and see where this ranks amongst them, but it's certainly one of the longer ones. You have
definitely.
the full water section, which is always nice. You never know if that's happening or not. But yeah, a 15-minute Oil and Water, super super appropriate way to start off a Halloween show.
Yeah, I loved it. Hunter right off the bat getting back into his funky grooves. I think this whole weekend had a little bit of 2015 energy, and
Sure.
kicking it off with that Oil and Water is a great way to start it. Then we get into Glass, and who doesn't love a Glass?
I
Man.
I hope this song's on the new album, man. Uh,
I bet you it's not. I bet you, like, if I had to bet, I would say for some reason Glass is not on this upcoming album, but I hope it gets the
okay.
studio treatment for sure.
Sure.
Um, I think since they premiered Glass, me and you have always had the same sentiment towards it, that from the first time you hear it, it didn't sound like a new song, right?
No.
It has that just classic STS9 feel to it. The synths, the backtrack, everything like that are just fit with the rest of the catalog, and just goes to show you play it right off an Oil and Water, which is a classic track to open the show, and
Sure.
it fits perfectly, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that brings us to our first clip, just like we did last week. We are going to be playing 4 clips, averaging around 4 or 5 minutes each from each show. Just highlighting some of mine and Scotty's favorite parts from each show, some of the highlights from the improv from the weekend. And this week, we do not have video footage, unfortunately. So bear with us, but audio should come through clean here, and we'll get started.
was Soul Slap or HB slaps your mom respectfully if you're nasty.
Talk us through what you're
Um,
talking about with that song title.
this is one of my favorite new songs. And the first time that it was played, which I believe was the Eastern Run 2022, um, we named it at our Airbnb HB Slaps Your Mom Respectfully.
Yes.
And it picked up a little bit of steam in the groups, started getting labeled that instead of its Untitled that it held for at least a year and some change. And come Chicago of last year, Chicago 2023, after the second night, which was my 100th show, you and I and a few of our friends were backstage, and we got to talk to Hunter Brown. During which time I got to tell him what I named that song. He got a good kick out of it, but he also said that's crazy because we haven't officially named it yet, but we think that the eventual name is going to have the word slap in it.
You said it's a working title, yeah.
It's a working title, but you got the slap part right. And eventually it became Soul Slap. But I will never call it Soul Slap. That's HB Slaps Your Mom respectfully because of the song, because of the clip that we just heard.
I
Nate,
mean,
your thoughts?
yeah, for me, it's aptly named because it hits me in the soul and it always slaps.
Sure.
But this one in particular, I think has got to be the most exploratory one.
Yeah.
And they gave with this modular gem HB a ton of room to just
Mm-hmm.
explore and soar over that modular backline, and then Alana just with that driving bass line. So just really strong across the board. Good first set, third song modular jam, not too much, right? Kind of
Right.
leading you into it. You can't go seed modular jam from Chicago, third song in the first set, right? You can't be hitting
Right.
that far. So really to work into it as the first modular section of the night, I really enjoyed and I thought was great and my favorite version so far. So I thought it was a
Mm-hmm.
good first clip to share here. And then the next song actually leads in our next clip here. So I'll get that pulled up. is it good to hear that one back regularly, man? That is just it puts a smile on my face seeing it on a set list. Um, I think we got to talk a little bit about the Red Rocks axe set when we're mentioning this one from this year and seeing the
Sure.
return of Glenn Tells Kango and Dem B for the first times in so long. Dem B haven't been played with Alana at all, and Glenn Tells Kango hadn't been played only been played once previous in the axe set in 2014 with Alana. So I mean, we were together for that Red Rock show. As soon as they started
Yes.
playing Demby, we had to confirm with each other, like, holy crap, are they playing Demby right now?
I
And yeah,
yeah, man.
like
I mean, I wrote I pulled up my notes at about 20 seconds before you ended that clip, and I kind of chuckled to myself because first thing I wrote about this song is respectfully, why the fuck would you ever shelf this song? Um, it's just so good, and going back to the haunted house set that we seem to have here, not an unspooky song.
no.
Kind of feels right where it should be on a Halloween show, which on its own I might not think that, but in the scope of what this set is on paper, the it's it's like you're being chased by something.
Like looking over your shoulder, like,
Right.
like
Yeah.
so that's the cool part is like it's a fresh take on it too, and that's what I want to talk
Yeah.
about with this song too. Is like, late 2000s Dembies very hard on the Hunter Brown distortion of like the
Yeah.
wow, and this is more like full band crescendo with that.
Yeah.
So that feels by design, obviously, and it's very cool, and it still kind of had a little bit of that axe feel to it, a little bit stripped down, right? Which is always cool to hear them break down melodies and all different types of chord progressions like that. And then that outro jam, dude, that is new. They could do that for 15 minutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's
you expect that they will. And something that's pretty common with this band is if a song pops up acts first,
yeah.
you're like, "Ooh, we're going to see that one down the road with a little bit more electricity behind it."
hmm
Um and Dimby, that being the case, I remember oh my gosh, was it in Summer Angels that Phipps played at his as piano show? And it was Golden Gate. It wasn't in Summer Angels. Pardon me. It was Golden Gate. That Phipps played at his Boulder piano show, and I remember being like, "We're gonna see that at some point, probably axed, because
Right.
that was a very stripped down version of it." And then Alpharetta that year, boom, Golden Gate axed.
Right.
You kind of see it where it's going when you follow this band for long enough.
Yeah, and that's my call for this song for that outro jam, that
Mhm.
like to be kind of like an the outro to STS9, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
It kind of has a little bit of that it's a Mana Islandy feel to
Yeah.
it as well,
Hmm.
like, so super excited to see where this one pops up. I'm praying to God it pops up in New
Hmm.
Orleans when I'm there, because I'm so ready to see it so many more times and to see where they take it. But
Sure.
that brings us into a mischief, which I mean, is there a better name for a Halloween song? I don't know. This has got to be one of my favorite names for a song in the STS9 catalog, and
Absolutely.
this one continues on the theme and gives us our first taste of drum and bass at the show, right? So, what'd you think of this
Absolutely.
one?
I mean, you can't go wrong with Mischief. It's
No.
it's a 1.0 favorite. And anytime it pops up at any show, that's time well spent.
Right.
I don't have many notes for it because it's kind of it's always reliable.
Yeah. No, not too much they steered away from in terms of mischiefs lately in that sense. But again, you're never going to complain from getting a first step mischief. That brings us into Sun, Moon, and Stars. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Now, this is a polarizing song. For
Mm-hmm.
myself, how are you feeling about it lately? And it says on the set list, Sun, Moon, and Stars into improv. Is that what we're calling
Yes.
that? Or
I mean, it's separate. On the board. It is separated into an
Yes.
improv.
Hmm.
So we'll take it.
Yeah.
But as far as this as a song, I feel like I've always been on the right side of history on this one, man. Honestly, not to say that you haven't been in general on the Universon side.
Right.
I think that was one of the things initially when we became friends that we were both like, oh wow, we both really love the universe inside. That's something you don't run into every day,
Yeah.
especially in 2018 when we
Right.
became friends. Now you'd be hard pressed to find a whole lot of people that don't like that album based on where
Hmm.
those songs have gone. Anyway, I digress. I love what they've done with this song, though. I was a fan of it in the original stage, but for a while it was just kind of what it was. There wasn't a whole lot of exploration there. And as they really have started playing with the modular era, this song works really well. And
Yes.
they've taken out a lot of the samples that you know uh, people really complain about, and they've left some, and it's turned into a pretty big party. I mean,
Yes.
when this song goes off at a show, there's a lot of people are dancing.
Yes, for sure. We saw that at Red Rocks this year, definitely. Um, I'm gonna go and say, even before Red Rocks, this was the one remaining song in the catalog that could kill my momentum during a set.
Hmm.
And they started adding that more modular backtrack that do, 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 do,
Hmm.
do, that like at Bonnaroo, I think was the first time they hit it at that Sunrise set that we were at. But still not too much going on in the back end. And then
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like it just ripped down a fourth wall at the Red Rocks version. And this one followed through by being spectacular as well. And it's making me eat my words, and I'm more than happy to do it. I'm hungry
Sure.
anyways. So um but yeah, I mean, TUI, both of us will talk more about that later with the clip coming up in the second show. There's a lot to love about it for sure.
Yeah.
And then they go back down to the old school route, right? They hit you with the common objects, which since elsewhere, I believe they've been sprinkling a little bit of modular treatment into that, and it sounds
Sure.
really cool and really fresh. And then into this Hidden Hand, Hidden Fist, which was certainly a standout version to round out a first set that, like you said, follows a theme in terms of spookiness, in terms of old school, new school mix of STS9. You got drum and bass, you got modular, you
Yeah.
got rock songs. It's an incredible um, mix and diverse first
Yeah,
set list wise. So
I kind of just really appreciated the ebb and flow of new songs and old songs in real time as we're kind of rounding out. First of all, just one thing on Common Object Strangely Placed. That's a song that just nobody else has. STS9 is the only one that writes that song. It's one of those songs that doesn't sound like anybody else's music at all.
yes,
And I don't know. I just had that thought when I was listening to it. But the Oil and Water, older song. Glass, newer song. HB Slaps Your Mom Respectfully, newer song. Dimby, super old song. Mischief, super old song. Sun, Moon, and Stars, newer song. Common Object Strangely Placed, one of the first songs. And then Hidden Hand, Hidden Fist, which is, 2010 time. Um,
yeah,
Such a nice selection. If this is your first STS9 show, this is who they are. This is the
yes.
band in a
You're get,
nutshell.
you're getting a pretty good representation from the catalog. And to share a little bit on Common Object Strange to the Place at the Q&A at Camp Elsewhere, it came up, and it's a song they love too, and they're super excited about having it brought back in the last 5 years or so. And I'm going to paraphrase the story here, but it had to do with a story where HB and Jeffrey were driving down a very dark dirt road at some point together, and they see on the side of the road a perfectly set up lounge chair, side table, and lamp right there. And they
Oh.
said to each other, "Those are some common objects very strangely placed." And they had okay, we have to name a song that. So I thought that was really cool whenever you get a
Oh,
little bit of a look behind the
yeah.
curtain as to the names of songs and everything. So anytime it pops up, we get excited. Both me and you were there the first time they brought it back at the House of Blues in Chicago,
Hmm.
and it was one of those moments where that was one we weren't prepared for. We're like,
I had
what
no
is
idea what they were
this?
playing at the time.
And it took our buddy JW to come in and with a little bit of knowledge, being a little bit more of a OG head than us to let us know what it was. But super awesome nonetheless, and a very fun first set. We'll get talking about the second set, and we'll leave it to the clip here of what I thought was the highlight of the night.
From every tomb, a close
Hunter Brown is the thing that goes bump in the night.
Oh, the B stands for behave. Honestly.
Man, the scariest thing that you can run into on
Oh.
Halloween is Hunter Brown with his axe, bro. Let's go. We've got an almost 12-minute thriller to open up the second set of Halloween. With a very tasty modular section. I don't, to my knowledge, this is the first time that they've really done front to back thriller.
Oh,
Um,
I mean, well, like, nothing is touched 11 minutes and 43 seconds.
yeah, I mean you've got all of the vocal
Obviously no modular
samples.
treatment. Yeah.
Sure. I mean this is the most complete effort at Thriller, and also the most STS9 version of
Oh,
Thriller.
that back half is a completely different song.
Right.
And once you hit 9:30 in the timestamp, it's just it's HP's world, and we're all flying off the surface of it.
I,
Like,
I love that you just said that, because when we were watching that, I sometimes I obsess over very small portions of songs, and I wrote down 9:30 through 9:40,
yeah,
because that's when Hunter really starts cooking. Um, yeah, man, they could play this any night of the week. This does not have to be a Halloween song,
yeah,
STS
we
nine.
could, guys.
We can do it. We can
We can
keep
do
doing
this.
this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fine. No, there's no police here. There's no Halloween police. You can just keep
No,
doing this.
absolutely not. So, like, one note, last time played 2013, 12/29.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's huge. A 10 plus year bust out, right? Obviously, on Halloween, it's great. They've done it not on Halloween. They did it in Chicago in I think a March show that year in 2013. They were playing it a little bit. So we might see it, especially if they spent the time to put some of that modular backtrack on it. And one of my thoughts listening to this is like, I'm like, man, Totem's Thriller, isn't it? Like, it's got a
Ah,
very similar structure, right? You get
sure.
the funk dance disco intro, and then they hit you with the spooky eerie samples, right? And then that sends it into a modular jam. So I thought some really good shades to and odes to their own catalog and in Totem as well, and sounding a lot like it. But I
Yeah.
agree, man. This could be this could become a staple, and we could be seeing multiple thrillers here over the next 6 to 9 months, if I could make a prediction there. So,
I'm with it.
but so much fun, obviously, with the people love the Instagram post of Alana and and Zach dancing in the car. It's just been really cool to see more of them on their social media, and
Yeah.
shout out to Shanley, who's running the social media right now, and she's getting them to come out to out of their shell a lot, and people love it. People love
Right.
them as people. We love STS9, but we love Zach, Hunter, Alana, Phipps, and Jeffrey and HB too, right? So, like, I just named HB twice because that's not how much we like him. But it's cool to see that, and that got a lot of chatter going about, like, hey, are they going to play Thriller? And I was like, I don't know if that necessarily means they're going to play Thriller, but sure enough, they hit it. They hit
Sure.
you with it, and then they waste no time getting to another one of your highlights here in Atlas.
Absolutely. Yes. Sorry. I was getting my notes back up.
You're good.
I can't believe we are not using this as a clip, but we only have so much time.
Yeah.
We don't really discuss anything that we're going to talk about before the pod, other than what clips we're going to use. And really the only thing that we had a discussion about last night was whether to use Atlas or not. We ended up going with another clip from this set that we'll get into here in a second, but we cannot walk past this Atlas and not talk about it. Another one of those pretty divisive songs, off of probably their second most divisive album,
Yes.
in Ad Explorata, and personally one of my favorite albums.
I've
I'm
yes.
Go ahead. No, go
Mhm.
ahead.
No, I've always loved AdX, and I've came into a time where they kind of had finished playing Atlas a whole lot in
Sure,
like
sure.
2011, and
Yeah.
then I missed some of the first versions with Alana in like 2015, where maybe they played it one or two times. I know there was a show in Aspen where they played it. where I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there. And it just, yeah, a lot of STS9 fans didn't like it. And then it comes back at Resonate. And
Mm-hmm.
man, I would like, have they beefed it up? Like
Oh yeah.
yeah, and in terms of just like making the backtrack clear, like the little clicks and samples and everything like that sound amazing. And I believe this was the first time we got a modular jam out of it. They kind of extended the version at Red Rocks a little bit, and it sounded freaking awesome. But to see it get the modular treatment, I mean, that shows how excited they are about it and renewed they are about the track. And I think it's a lot making a lot of previous Atlas haters eat their words as well. That I've been
Yeah.
asking in the lounge and everything. So
It's kind of like what we were talking about with Sun, Moon, and Stars in the first set, where some songs just don't. Sometimes STS9 is ahead of their own time. And with a song like Sun, Moon, and Stars, and obviously now with a song like Atlas, these are songs that just fit very well into the era that we're in right now, where there's a lot of modular exploration and some of that stuff that was pretty new to them when they were doing it the first time with a song like Atlas, which, could rightfully the studio version can be described as a little abrasive. They're really kind of ironing that out right now and creating some really fun moments with songs like this. I'm a big fan. I like any song that grows, and I like any band that really pushes the limits of what they're comfortable with. And it's cool to see Atlas back in a different way.
absolutely, 100% agree. And heck of a first start to the second set with two 10+ minute modular jams. Then we get into March, which is a good opportunity to finish dancing your butt off and just kind of sit back and go like this. That's one of my songs at this point. March is another song that has absolutely gotten huge, obviously, with the addition of the new HP guitar lick near the end a handful of years ago. And they've done some really, really cool things with March as well. Then we get into more drum and bass, our first drum and bass segment of the second set with Walk the Sky. And man, has this song grown legs, like you'd like to say as well. I think back to that Nashville version that we saw
Hmm.
back in April this year, where me and you were looking at each other like, bro, what is Zach Velmer on? That man
Hmm.
is juicing. Like it's
A lot of
someone test
protein, a lot of
him.
protein
Yeah,
these days.
yeah. A lot of coconut water, a lot of protein. Whatever he's eating his Wheaties before that track, man, he goes absolutely ham, and it's really cool to see them do what they've done with that. Some huge versions. I know a version from the Fall East Coast. Um, tour as well. I believe it was in Boston. Had a lot of people talking about that song as well. So great way to get into some drum and bass. And then we get into Awesome Unquestionable, which is always a fun dance party.
Hmm.
And then we get into this last clip that we've got from the first night. Let me just get this pulled up. And someone may have called this one.
Mm. Mm. We'll get into that later.
Wow, that is David Phipps Soundscapes. Oh my goodness, man. Just stank face modular to
Oh,
start that out. Just
why is this song so scary, bro? What, why, where did they write this? Like, what did the night that you wrote Twilight look like
oh,
for
it's a
you
full
guys?
moon for sure.
Because, good God, this is by far the spookiest song that they have. A very great song to, not close. They did an open E after this, but kind of
That's
the
a spooky one too. Jeez. I mean,
sure. I mean,
say
I
your
mean
prayers
that.
before bedtime. Jeez.
I mean, so I wrote I come up with my best notes about this as we listen to these clips. But I wrote Phipps's modular actually sounds like water dripping. Not not to beat this haunted house motif to death, but I had the thought about 30 seconds into this clip. Could you watch a horror movie on mute to this? And so I typed into YouTube real quick, top 10 horror scene movies, and the first scene was a scene from It. And so for about 3 minutes of that clip, I just had that on my other screen, and son, it works, man.
I'm glad to know that that tracks.
It
Yeah,
works.
Davis. Yeah, and I mean, first one we see pop up since Camp Elsewhere, and it had been
Hmm.
about 5 years since Camp Elsewhere since we saw one. And previously, the show they had played that out as kind of a quasi Halloween run at the Caverns from 2019. So
Yes.
it's good to see it back and good to see it getting the modular treatment here for sure. And then, like you said, we get into Open E, which I mean, and huge on that
Hmm.
second set, man. And that's another really scary song too, dude. Like,
Yeah.
man, art comes from pain, but art comes from fear sometimes too. Um, and then how are we ending this show here, Scotty?
The 10-year anniversary of the dance we want the funk.
Yes.
I wouldn't call it quite as much of a mashup version as the original one, but certainly, if nothing else, a little hat tilt to that moment. And just a great dance. Dance is definitely one of my top five songs from this band. I hold that dance G Funk from Red Rocks 2015 and pretty high self esteem. That's kind of my benchmark for dances. And this one can, it's got hands. It could definitely hold his own against that 2015 G Funk. This was a lot of
Damn,
fun.
Dan's got hands for sure.
Damn.
I mean, to wrap it up, awesome Halloween show. Just awesome to
Yeah.
have the band back on October 31st.
Yes.
Super fun to see what they did with the skeleton onesies. They looked pretty awesome there. And the shout out to the crew with the spider webs and the
Yeah.
skeletons and everything like that. Stage looked awesome, and it's always gonna look awesome no matter what in the movie. But shout out to the crew for making it look spooky. So
Hmm.
we can collect ourselves, remove from the spook, and move on to November here. And we're starting off night two with not so much of a spooky vibe, right? So start us off with this set list recap of night two, Scotty.
Let's see what we got here. Night two, we start off with another absolute banger phoneme.
Yeah.
A long phoneme to continue the theme of starting the show with older songs, and this is one that you don't see every day.
No.
A pretty popular demand amongst fans before it was played, and anytime it comes back, people get excited. I have compared this song to Breathe In. It's got multiple sections, and it kind of ends with that really blissed out kind of deep exhale type section that just feels really good. And the more they play it, the better it sounds.
HB soaring on top of a mountaintop stuff, man. It's really cool to see that they can open a show with this, and I've seen
Sure.
them close a show with it plenty of times, and it works in either slot really well. Then we get right into the modular with a rave spell song, lift you up into modular, reaching near 10 minutes there too. So That gets the people dancing after you got your hands on top of your head, or you're high fiving or hugging your homies after phoneme. So great way to get the dance floor lit up. Then we get into a mashup I know you're really fond of.
Man, this us New Dawn, New Day. I love New Dawn, New Day. This us has been a song for me. It was played my first show, I believe, and just such a huge song that I've been very vocal about. I feel like needs to be explored more. I would bet that if you were to line every single this us up in a row, they all track within 15 seconds of each other. They're all around that 5.5 minute mark. It's a huge song. It just doesn't get explored very much. And the This Us from Brooklyn, I believe, this year, where they did a little modular section with it, was the first time they've really played around with it at all. And now this show, you see This Us New Dawn. I'm here for it, man. Keep playing with that song. It's a giant. Alana could stomp around like a dinosaur on that thing for 15 minutes if she wanted to.
Yes.
Um,
It
yeah,
is. It's up there with some of those heavy rock songs. I think like it could be similar to like a Shock Doctrine or a High Key, that same kind of vibe
sure.
where that's rock show STS9 kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
really cool to see them mash up with New Dawn, New Day, and with the samples thrown into it.
Yeah.
It gives it a whole nother element. And then we get that fifth song slot for an older song for the first show of the weekend, and then same thing, we get they hit us with some Artifact with the Globally, which no one's gonna ever argue with the Globally. And
Exactly.
great 5 song segment to start off the show, and then that brings us to our first clip from night 2 here.
Woo-wee!
Oh, that's fun.
That was Get Loud. Get Loud haters. Let's look at the camera together for a second. It's a good song, guys. It's a
Yeah.
really, really, really good song that has been good from the beginning.
Yes.
The hatred on this song has always really confused me. I understand 30 seconds of vocal samples in an 8 to 10 minute long song can really hurt some people's feelings.
Mm,
But
poor people.
I
Jeez.
know. I mean, thoughts and prayers, honestly. Today of all days, thoughts and prayers. It's tough. Vocal samples really really rough. Uh,
Yeah.
but honestly, this song sounds like if aliens made disco music. It's an absolute jam vehicle. Probably my favorite Get Loud. Although you and I and shout out Matt Boss, we've literally stayed up late into the night debating our favorite Get Louds. But this modular section just it's catchy. It kind of digs in your ear, and David Phipps, which will be a theme throughout the weekend, is kind of carrying things on this.
Yeah. I'll go and stare into the camera with you here too. And it's that Michael Jordan meme where it's stop it. Get some help. And just let the music lift you up, dude. Are you serious? I mean, yeah, there's a long list of great Get Louds, but I mean, shout out Jeffrey Lerner at the end of this one. Man is going
Yeah.
absolutely ham in the back. Shout out Kaya and Brad on the mix. All five band members have been coming through extremely clean on some of these huge segments, which I'm sure
Yeah.
are very tough to mix to get everybody in there and get that right. And it just came through super clean. So
Mm-hmm.
super fun, Get Loud, awesome first clip. That's one of my favorite ones that we'll share for sure here. Then we get into a buttery segue
Mm.
from To the World, which love To the World, love the samples, love that they've been playing this more. But man, then we get into a classic, and it is straight up business time from here. And talk about David Phipps. Take a listen. really hurts my heart to stop that
I
clip
was
there,
I
man.
was about to say I went back and was checking when that was supposed to end. Like, when do you end
Whew.
it?
I mean, we could listen to the rest of it. I'd like, and that would be pretty cool. I mean, that dude, that's David Price. That's price of admission, right there. That's where his nickname is David Price. Like David Phipps, David Price of admission. Like, oh my God. I mean, really, really crisp drum and bass from Zach to start. Really nice builds. I swear they've been adding extra measures to those builds because like I catch myself getting off on the timing when they open it up with the drums and everything. Could be wrong, but it feels bigger and it's a really good Ramon. And
Yeah.
I mean, our friend CZ, who is the Ramon connoisseur himself,
Shout out CZ.
said it's shout out CZ for labeling as one of the best 3.0 ones he's heard. There's been a couple really good Ramones this year. There's one from Soulshine Reverie, which more commonly known as Summer Camp this year, which absolutely smoked. So if you're looking for a really, really fun Ramon to go back to, that's a good one on Bandcamp as well.
Hmm.
Would love to share video from that one too with our man Chandler on lasers as well. Made it look really cool. But how do you feel about this one?
I mean, Ramon is such a good song, man. It's
So good.
I remember I was when I first moved to Colorado. I had a marijuana growing job. I ran a couple grow rooms. I had this playing one day, and my manager that did not listen to any music adjacent to STS9, let alone STS9, when that Phipps piano doot 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 doot, he heard that shit from down the hallway and stuck his head in and said, "What is this?" It's one of those things that really transcends any kind of taste in music. It's undeniable. Uh,
I mean, it's, you could call it a staple, you could call it their best song ever, and you wouldn't be wrong with any of that.
right.
It's one that you wouldn't mind hearing every night for sure. But they've done a really good job of evenly spacing it out and making each one special and giving each band member a chance to shine through it. And
Hmm.
Alana Frog bass mode activated. You know how me and you feel about frog bass mode, and
Yeah, I
that
mean,
is,
going back to the 2015 comment that you made at the
yep.
beginning of the podcast. I mean, the interaction between Alana and Phipps here feels very 2015-y.
Hmm.
The only note about Phipps I had on the Ramon is that he sounds like he's on an X-wing, coming in around the 6 minute and 28 second mark.
Yeah.
But just hearing those two go back and forth, that is one of my favorite bags of STS9.
Oh yeah, bending pitches, just
Hmm.
absolutely ripping holes in the space-time continuum. Just awesome version here. And then that caps off the first set. And man, I always need a few minutes to collect myself after a Ramon to end a set. So thank God they gave everybody a second to breathe. But Scotty, what do they come with us with the second set?
Oh man, this song sounds like walking through a muddy graveyard. We're talking about Dusk, one of the newer songs in the catalog. Another song that I wrote. I really hope that this is on the album. I think Glass is gonna be on the new album. I think if you were to pick between the two that won't be, I think Dusk seems like maybe a song that might not have a place on the album.
All
What
right, we'll have to make a
STS9
gentleman's
album
bet
scene.
out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? Do you think that this is one that ends up on it?
I do. I do. I
Okay.
think there's going to be a big nature theme throughout the album, and I think things like
Okay.
Dusk, Big
Big
Basin,
Basin. Okay.
Arrowhead, named after hiking trails and geographic points, are most likely going to be on there. But
Okay.
man, this starts off a second set, which when you see it on paper the next morning, your butt hurt and you're like, how did I not rearrange my finances to find a way to be in Austin for this?
Right.
Because I mean, before we get into any of it, we'll like just to read it straightforward. Can I read it to you?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Dusk into monkey,
Yeah.
something into haze, new untitled, which we'll try our best to give it a title here in a little bit. Mod into modular, the namesake, the podcast namesake.
I don't know if that's a hat tilt, but we'll take it.
Yeah, and then when the dust settles to finish it, that is Zach Velmer, Chef's Kiss, setlist writing. My goodness. So I mean, Dusk always awesome. I believe the first Dusk they did into monkey music, so really cool to see them go back to that origin. And this monkey music is another one that's really tough not to clip up, but it would have been really tough for it not to be an 11-minute clip because
Right.
I mean, monkey music is just that fun of a song, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Um,
go for it.
no, I was just gonna say it also in terms of in terms of just the mod modular being in here too. The Dusk Monkey music feels so me, and the Some Sing Haze feels so you.
Yes.
Um,
So Something being Gina's favorite song, Haze being my new favorite song. Me and Gina looked at that the next morning. We were like, what? Oh my
yeah.
God. How are we not there for that? We would have been absolutely need to have been scooped off the floor after that segment. So that brings us to our next clip here. And we're gonna do something a little bit fun after that too. Wow, that's a fun one. And you know what, Scotty? It needs a title.
Does need a title, Nate.
It needs a title. And we talked with each other this week. We said, how about we help them out, just like we did, at least telepathically, with Soul Slap? How about we try to workshop some things and get some working titles? Because second time this song has popped up since Red Rocks, where they debuted it. Uh,
Yes.
it's got a
3 more minutes of material in here than
yes.
in the Red Rocks version. You actually had to remind me that this wasn't the first song w- that this wasn't the first time the song was played.
Yes.
Uh, just to continue the trend of new songs getting very big very quickly. Here
Taking
we are
shape
again. Yeah,
eerily fast,
yeah.
right? Some
Uh-huh.
really, really cool interplay with Alana slowing things down, some absolutely nasty drum and bass type stuff from Zach, some really cool drum pads and everything like that. And just like some drippy synths and modular mixed
Yeah.
in. So
I
I
did. I did have one more before we get into the names. I did have
yeah.
one more thought that I thought was kind of cool. The sample chopping specifically at the beginning. And the goal. I mean, we will do a whole segment at one point on Zach's musical influence and how rich that is.
Mhm.
But back in 2021, 2022, they did an interview where they specifically mentioned Fred again as one of the people that they're super inspired by, the way that his live performances got put together and just his music in general. I think you can hear that in this song.
I had never thought of that, and you're so right, right?
Yeah,
It's almost like they've got Music Us, a couple other songs on a beat pad, and they're
yeah,
chopping it up like Fred again for sure.
sure,
So
sure.
I'm
Very
hearing
heavy
that
Fred again.
definitely. Great point. Had not thought of that. Let's hear your name for it.
All right. I did a running list, but I think my favorite one I came up with while we were listening to the clip. So the names that I just wrote down, I've got Joy Ship Empire. I've got
Joy Ship Empire. Love
Yeah, I
that.
don't even know what the fuck a joy ship is, but it felt good.
Yeah,
I've got evolving perspectives.
love that.
I've got escape strategies. I've got space thumper. I think I'm going with space thumper.
Space Thumper. Okay, I had to go Space 2, and I'm a big Peloton guy, as you know,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I've always been of the belief that Zach Velmer would be a great Peloton instructor. Oh my God, doing a spin class with Zach for sure. And it's also like sometimes I feel like David Phipps is either teaching me how to ride a bike or evilly snapping my brakes, right? It's either you're doing one or the other. So I get like a bike and a space theme. So I went Galactic Spin Class or
Galactic Spin Class.
Galactic Spin Class, or let's go with maybe Galactic Peloton. That'd be my other one. My other one. So
Galactic Peloton.
yes,
I'm gonna give you Galactic Spin Class.
you like that?
I'm not as handcuffed to Space Thumper as I am Galactic Spin Class.
All right. We
Yeah,
might
no,
have
that's
we might have a title for the episode too. There's some other things you
I
said that have
actually.
been
Oh my God, I love
yeah.
that you just said that because I just wrote down David Phipps taught me how to ride a bike.
He's teaching me. It's an ongoing process, but yeah, he'll cut the brakes on you too. I swear to God, he will.
Just when you
Um,
trust him.
right, exactly. But I will always trust him. I will. Um, so we get into the encore. Oh my God. I was breaking this clip up, Scotty, and I was just like, man, this is a hell of a way to end it. So this is our last clip of the night here.
All right.
Everybody enjoy the first STS9 song I ever heard.
El Classico.
Scotty, that's the entire starting five getting into double digits there. That is
Career night from the whole starting lineup.
yes, but I think it encapsulates really well who our MVP is from these two shows.
Yes.
And that is David Phipps. My God,
Yes.
man, you were absolutely out of your mind all weekend. So many highlights from the modular work to the organ work to the spooky keys to just, I mean, everything, man. And like David Phipps in this section aimlessly is just like, again, David price of admission. Like it's you're gonna get that fill, the and the harder he hits you with the distortion of that last note, the more it just like wiggles your spine. So thought this was a great last clip to share and a really stand out aimlessly, which ends the show with the encore into shaky ground. Just an awesome way to end the weekend. So how do you feel about it?
I mean, I don't have too many notes. This is a lot of what we've seen all weekend. Really strong older songs paired with really strong newer songs.
Mhm.
A great encore. You're gonna see shaky ground. I have a feeling at every single run for the next little bit as they really play with that thing. And cool. I'm down. I think paired with an aimlessly or not paired with an aimlessly, I think Shaky Ground's got a lot of potential too. So two of their strongest songs in their catalog at this given moment.
Awesome encores both night. Get dance, give up the funk,
Yeah.
dance aimlessly, shaky ground. Can't ask for much more. So jealous of all you people, all you beautiful people that were in Austin. Hope everybody enjoyed the Moody as much as me and Scotty did, but that's a wrap on that run of
Yep.
shows and brings us in to a segment that we're super excited about. Nick, super excited to hear about each other's um, selections for this, and that is a top five segment. Top
Top
five
five, top five,
shows,
top five, top five.
top five. We both attended, been in attendance for. These are not our
Yes.
top five recordings. They're not top five shows of all time. These are top five shows we've both been to. So,
Mm-hmm.
Scotty, I'm gonna let you go first on your list.
All right.
You wanna,
I've
you
got
wanna,
my I've got mine ranked from 5 to 1. This was a super fun exercise. It was fun hearing from you guys. We're gonna rattle off quickly a couple of lists that we got that each one of us liked a lot. But to start off mine, I've got November 24th, 2018. That is the Saturday of the Just Thanks run at the Coca-Cola Roxy Theater in Atlanta, Georgia.
oh,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
my first
honest.
Atlanta show.
Your first Atlanta show, one day late, Nate. He was not at the Friday show, but flew in on Thanksgiving weekend to catch him one STS9 show, and it was a good one. For me, this show is as much about the people that were in attendance as the music that was played. I won't get too much into it, but I'm from Atlanta, and I've got a lot of friends that from there, as well as a lot of friends that I've amassed running around chasing this band for, the better part of the last 12 years, and they were all there that night. It felt like I felt like it was my wedding, that night. People that would never come in contact with each other outside of a setting like that were all within, arm's reach of me, and just a super special night. In terms of what was played, you got a Baraka, you got a Moonsocket, you got a Peoples, you got Armani Rain, first time on stage with the
Mhm.
band,
That was
doing a
cool.
freestyle on New Dawn and performance with balancing. Something that you will probably never see again. So
Mhm.
points for that too in terms of what actually happened on stage for that night.
Strong start. Let's hear four.
Uh, 4, we've got my 100th show, the Riviera Theater.
Good
This was,
God, bro.
yeah, this was Chicago of last year. This was my 100th show. My requests were actually played the previous night, which was Potamus and Monkey Music. But one of the coolest parts about this weekend is that I shared my 100th show with at least 8 people, and 3 or 4 of them are like my best friends in the world.
Hmm.
Shout out to Eli, shout out to B Pearl. This was all 3 of our 100th show. And Brandon's request for actually, I just realized I was about to get into to songs played, and I'm looking at the night previous. So let me get that pulled up. Um, Pardon me.
You're good, bro.
Here we go. 18. Boom. So yeah, we've got musical story, yes, which was one of Brandon's requests. Into Soul Slap, you've got a 4 Year Puma this night. You've got a Circus Encore. One of my favorite nights of music ever, and getting back to just it's about who you're around as much as what's played. This is one of my favorite nights.
Rent,
Um,
Get Lucky from that night too. Do not sleep on
yes,
that rent. Yeah,
yes.
jeez, that was fun. So,
Getting into my 3 spot, we've got July 23rd, 2021. This was the first show back from COVID at Red Rocks. The first show in almost 18 months. Man, you can't beat that Skyworld musical story, yes, better day with a stick, son.
turn on the waterworks.
Everyone was crying, bro. Everyone around me was crying. The breathe in as well, just an absolute animal. One of the most jammed out breathe ins you will ever see. Man, the first 5 songs of the set are some of the best STS9 you will ever see. Vibes were super high that weekend. 3 set show. You've got the premiere of Arrowhead. You've got a We'll Meet in Our Dreams encore. You've got the premiere of Ride Out. You've got a circus. This is just a lot of STS9 pent up for 18 months.
Yeah, and the
Um,
great debut of HB Strand of Hair. Don't forget about that.
that's right. That's right. The debut of the and the debut of the David Phipps ponytail as well. Correct. They
Oh,
both came out
Zach's
with
hair,
one.
dude. They came out with a bunch of hair. It was great. It
Yeah,
was really
no,
cool to see.
as a lot of us did during COVID.
Yeah.
Wasn't a lot of shaving or haircuts happening.
No.
This is, I'm not gonna lie, when I said I hope that we share one, this is one that I hope made it on your list. It's one that doesn't make it on a lot of people's list, and you guys are all haters. 9/9/2016. Red Rocks.
I'll spoil
The-
it now. It's not on my list, but
Not okay.
we're a part of the people who enjoyed Red Rocks 2016 fan club for
Yes.
sure. Yeah. And boy, did we
Um,
enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so sorry that a better day encore with live vocals that it hurt your feelings so much.
Oh, so jeez, man, those poor people. Jeez.
The what was it? The Gob Nugget between the sheets, reemergence between the sheets. The Bible.
Oh, the
There's
message.
yes, the Bible
The
message. It's not on
oh,
here. It's not.
it's
It's not
so
on. It's
nasty.
not on
That's
the
the night
set list.
before. It's the night
Oh,
before.
oh, you're right. You're right.
Hmm.
No, it's not. No, this it's all on the same. It's all on the same set. And then the next night too. Honestly, they're interchangeable for me because my favorite cover of all time is that Inner City Blues that happens the night after. You got the whole choir there the night after with the another Get Lucky. Lots of cool stuff that you'll never see happen again. Um, and then my number one, I'm a cliche, September 12th, 2015. Um, Honestly, you could argue that there are, let's see, Crystal Instrument, Arigato, Hidden Hand, Hidden Fist, STS9. There, you could argue at least 8 best of versions
Oh
happened,
my
and
God, that was my
and
first Red Rocks run. Jeez, was that a heater? That hidden hand
um,
is the measuring stick for sure.
yes. You've got the first In Due Time. You've got the first modular socket. The G-Funk dance, which whatever your favorite dance is, it nothing
Gotta be
compared
that
to this
one.
dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this dance is bullying your dance in a schoolyard. Um, the
Oh
shock
no.
doctrine, the inspire, the mobster suite. I mean, this show is perfect, man. It there's no notes, there's nothing that you would change about it. It truly is everything you want in an STS9 show, and I don't think I've been to a show that beats it since. The natural blues encore, just everything about this thing. I keep going back to it 10 plus years later.
Well, I love your list. If your list was one of the comments, it would have been the first one I shared. And it's crazy that none of these shows are on my list, but it's also
Oh,
super
okay.
fun. I
Okay.
think some of these that I list, a lot of them you were at, are going to be ones where you're thinking like, man, that could have made my list too. Let's start with number five, December 30th, 2019, Rave
Oh
Spell.
yeah. Okay.
Rave Spell. I mean, little did we know we were in for an album drop, right?
Hmm.
Just so much fun in the club with Tiberius Laser Shark there too. Seeing the band on that tiny little stage at the Ravine. I mean, again, you got debuts of Lift You Up, Like I Do, Feel It, Never Never, just become an absolute monster. Elevators, which they've done a lot of cool stuff with.
Yeah.
Falling, which is a lot of people's favorites. And then that housey up tempo improv that they ended with, just otherworldly. And it felt like just tapping into new potential of the band, which has seen grown into some huge staples of their catalog here. Number four, this might be a little bit of a cheat because it's technically three sets, but one of them from mine is one
I did a
set.
three
So I
set
feel
show.
like, okay, will you allow this?
Yeah. Yeah, I did a three
Um,
set show. That's not cheating.
Wave Spell Live, August 17th, 2018. All
Okay.
right. Firewall Water Song opener.
Yes. Okay. Night one.
My
Well, I guess
my
yeah. If you count the first night as night zero with the
mhm.
improv and yeah.
Yep. I had dreams about this happening because
I called this on Facebook.
there were fires
Yes.
surrounding the Beldentown area, and it was in danger of hitting Beldentown and wiping
Mm-hmm.
out the festival, and we would got curveballed twice times too. That was also curveball weekend where
Right.
Fish's Festival didn't happen. So to see that happen, Firewall into Water Song to start the set, which Water Song is my all-time favorite. That was my first Firewall.
Mm-hmm.
Just absolute puddle. Second set, you get the Red Clay,
Brent
Rent,
Clay. Yeah.
and then the improv set with Richard Devine, which was absolutely mind-blowing.
Sure. I
Crazy
couldn't
stuff.
move during that set. I was a broken man.
We
I
were
was
spent.
standing there just finished.
So number three, I'm gonna go to a Murph show here.
Mm,
This is House of Blues Chicago, September 1st, 2012.
okay.
Um, this was maybe my seventh or eighth show. And it's one that I go back to as like, this is where I got it. This
Mm,
is where there's a timestamp that will live on forever in my Facebook memories. It comes up every year. There's a status. This was a late night show after North Coast Music Festival. So they got started at like 12:30 or 1 in the morning. There's a Facebook status that tags STS9. It says, STS9, you are the most incredible thing in music and keep making any other band seem like a joke. So it's imprinted at time that that is where a very young lad, a very young Nate got it. And I think what it was an inspire to end the second set and then a breathe
okay.
in encore, which,
See, it's
you
always
know,
a breathe in.
it's always a breathe in that gets you. You had an evasive come why, meta meme, grow, what is love? That's what started the second set. First set, you got an ABC's F word, Equinox, Rabble, Be Nice, Moonsocket uh section, which you look back at some of these set lists before, some of the new songs, which I really enjoy, but like, man, you're like, whoa, if they played this kind of set in 2024 with how they're
Oh yeah.
playing, it's crazy. So that one is a sentimental one for me, for sure. And you know how special House of Blues Chicago is to me. There's a few
Oh
that
yeah.
could have been on this list from there. It's my favorite place to see them in the city I live in. Second on the list for me, 1-1,
Okay.
2015.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, geez, you come in, it was billed as a very special set of STS9 after a dinner, Conscious Lines benefit, I believe.
Yep.
I mean, just reading down, I'd love to see some of these come back with a beautiful chaos and Crystal House, but you've got the Pied Noir outro improv, this modular improv and the D&B improv are insane. You've got the debut of Black Satin, the first time they did that unbelievable night where none of us really knew what we were in store for. Then they hit you with an improv set. Zach, after that, Pied Noir says, listen, he's out of breath. There's
Mm-hmm.
no plan here. Thank you for letting us do what we do. And I think that opened up a new chapter of STS9 and what we saw with some of the Wavespell live experiences and improv sets that we're getting here. So that's number two for me. Number one, if you guys have not heard this set, please, if you do anything after this episode, go to Bandcamp, subscribe if you haven't already. Uh, May 23rd, 2015, Summer Camp Red Barn. This is pound for pound the best 90 minutes of STS9 I have ever seen.
Nice.
And my jaw was absolutely on the floor. You got a 20 plus minute rent. This crystal instrument gets into 1-1 type category of jamming.
The grow.
The grow is the best
Yeah.
grow. That is,
Yeah.
that is my favorite grow. It is an absolute dance party at the end of it. And it just encapsulates 2015 for me. You got a close to 15-minute shock doctrine, inspire, and then a spaceship landing from no on. Unbelievable way to end it. So those are our top fives. Check them out if you haven't. Subscribe to Bandcamp if you haven't. Most of these sets are on Bandcamp. The one from House of Blues I mentioned is not, but it is on Nugs if you're looking to check that out. Uh, but really cool hearing your top five, and I know this was a fun but tough exercise for us. But
Yeah.
what what
I
what were some
I
of the
didn't
lists? You go ahead.
So I didn't change any of mine, and that's what I was getting into was the list was seeing some of these lists. I was tempted to change mine, and it just felt like an integrity thing. It just felt wrong. I'd come up with my list ready to go into it last week. We scrapped reading our list last week because we ran long. Spoiler alert, guys, if you're listening still, we ran long again.
We're gonna do
They
our best. Yeah.
we tried really hard. We talk about these things in between the clips, and there was just no way around it.
Yeah.
This is what it is. But getting into a couple of these set lists that I really liked. Hatfield Blight, shout out to you because your name is Two Widespread Panic songs. I don't know if your mother named you that, but she's pretty cool if she did. Um, so we got 420 Classic Center in Athens, Georgia. Fire, let's go.
Mhm.
7508 Rothbury, absolute classic. 1231 2015 Tabernacle. The 1/1 2016 Tabernacle show was my first off
Yeah.
of my top five. Shout out Maureen Murphy, I love you.
Hmm.
32109 at the Georgia Theater. Speaking of Maureen Murphy, 82716, the only other time STS9 had a choir on stage,
Look at that.
um, with the
Some
Under
people like
Pressure
it.
encore. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, no, it was awesome.
I got one shout out, Johnny Reagan. Pretty sick
Oh,
list
that was my
here.
next one.
Look at that. Saves us a little time too.
Yeah.
He's got a couple pageant shows. One of them I wasn't at because I didn't see them until 2011. 42007. I have listened to that pageant show. That's
Mm.
one of those venues where they played every time they played at the pageant in St. Louis. It's a special night. But 21216. Oh, if you guys,
Mm-hmm.
that's another one you haven't heard. That's the first Golden Gato. There's a huge black satin. We had Craig Ellis from Pretty Lights on Lights too. That's a great show.
That's a great
1228.
week of
Yes.
STS9, starting at the Fillmore and ending at that House of Blues show in Chicago. Every single show in that week is top notch, hanging up in a museum.
Oh yeah, for sure. Then you got 122807 Tabby. I believe that's live as time changes where that run was recorded. Was that
Oh five,
oh
oh five.
five? So those '07 Tabby shows are
Yeah.
sick. Got a little Canopy Club love in there, and that is Champaign Urbana. That's down at University of Illinois. So love seeing them there.
Mm-hmm.
That's another venue where every time they seem to play there. 9/8/17, obviously Artifact Night. Tough not to put that on any list, obviously. And then 2/17/19, a House of Blues Chicago. That was one on my list that you got on a plane after being there the night before. And you missed out on the Mobsters, Funky House, Potamus, Absolute Madness. So that was one on my list I really enjoyed. I've got a couple more, but I'll let you take the first one.
Let me see. You did my Johnny Reagan, so I'm gonna go Alex Hummel. A couple more. Honestly, I think I leaned into older school sets because I didn't have any Murph shows in mind. I
Mhm.
did see Murph. My first show was Murph. I did the last 5 night run of the Tabernacle. The third night of that run was on the list. It didn't end up going because I never go back to that era. I only really listened to these Alana shows and shows
Right,
before then that I wasn't at. Um,
right.
Anyway, we got 128 2006 the Fillmore Fire Show, got a Mischief, a Tokyo, a Hubble, extended Tokyo encore, really dope show. 99 2006, I believe this was their first headlining show at Red Rocks. Classic. The Boulder Theater 5 night run, he's got 313 and 315. Newer fans, if you have not listened to the Boulder Theater 5 night run, required listening before you come back next week.
Hmm.
Write me an essay.
They got a
Uh,
lot of homework.
Lots of homework. And then 127 2008, the after party at the Gothic Theater. I live football's throw away from the Gothic Theater, so if you guys ever want to do that again, STS9, I'm right here. We can boogie. Let's go.
Let's do it. I'm gonna shout out our man. I'm not gonna read his list, but Dr. Younghouse, Brad's got a sick list here. He's got my Red Barn 15 on there. He's got Chicago House of Blues, 2/17/19, Tabby 8/20/26/16, and that pageant show that I just mentioned as well from
Sure.
2016 on there as well. And then my last one, Chris Vasquez. Man, he's got a good one on here. Any
My
one of
boy.
them, yeah, he's the boy.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
awesome.
anyone that's got 1/1 and then Halloween 2014, that's another one that's tough not to put on any list that
Yes.
I was lucky enough to be at the All Funk set at the War Memorial in Nashville. More required listening for any new fans that haven't heard that one. So great list from Chris as well. Did you have any others we didn't mention?
I think I'm good. I had three and we overlapped on Johnny Reagan. So no, I think I'm done.
There we go. All right. We'll wrap it up. Appreciate you if you've gotten this far. We promise we're going to start trying to make these a little bit shorter. This one we're clocking around an hour 50. But man, are we having fun doing this? We're going to keep doing it
Yes.
every week. Expect new episodes dropping Thursday mornings. Next week, we're going to be previewing, obviously, the upcoming shows in Oakland at the Fox. Very cool
Mm-hmm.
venue that we're going to be talking about a little bit. And we've got a call to action for the fans too here, Scotty.
Yep, we got another top five for next week. This week, or next week, we are going to be showing our boy Tiberius a little bit of love.
Man, because we
So
didn't have the video tonight, so we gotta go back to a little bit
yeah,
of
so
Tiberius stuff. Yeah,
we'll try to incorporate it's a little bit of Tiberius looks next week. We don't have a show to recap, so we'll have a little bit more freedom to play around with some videos if we can find them. But we're gonna do top five Tiberius stage looks. Anything he has done since joining the band, your favorite run of his. One cool thing about Tibbs is that he doesn't normally do the same thing twice. So there
no,
is plenty of
plenty of
material,
options. Yep,
plenty to talk about. And we're gonna break that down next week, probably at a little bit more length, and hopefully get some cool videos. Because like I said, we don't have a live show to break down, so that'll be the first pod in that format.
you got it. So sound off in the comments here on YouTube. Hit our comments on the IG where you're at with this. I'm sure we'll make a post about it. Or in the lounge, top five favorite Tiberius light rigs or lighting moments or looks or anything like that. But other than that, man, thanks again, guys, for listening. Like and subscribe. Buy tickets to the Fox Theater shows at sts9.com. Subscribe to Bandcamp, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir.